There is a version of freedom that looks very convincing. You have the keys to your own house. You have a car that smells like fresh leather. You have a degree on the wall and a credit card that makes a satisfying thwack when you drop it on a restaurant table. You look successful. You feel like a participant in the modern economy. But if you stop moving for 3 months, it all vanishes. If you miss 3 paychecks, the bank takes the house. The lender takes the car. And the credit score you spent a decade building drops like a stone, effectively locking you out of society. We are told that debt is a tool, a ladder to help us climb up in life. But if you look at the mechanics, the cold, hard math of how the modern banking system is structured, you start to realize that debt isn't a ladder, it's a leash. And the scary part isn't that you borrowed money. The scary part is that the entire global economy is engineered to ensure you never actually pay it back. Welcome to the trap. Somewhere around the 1980s, a psychological shift happened in the Western world. We stopped asking, how much does this cost? And we started asking, can I afford the monthly payment? This sounds like a small difference. It isn't. It is the fundamental trick that keeps the hamster wheel spinning. When you focus on the price, you are thinking about the value of the asset. When you focus on the payment, you are thinking about the limitations of your salary. The financial system realized that if they could fracture the price into tiny, digestible monthly slices, they could charge you almost anything. A $40,000 car feels expensive. A $500 monthly payment feels manageable. But the math hides a secret. By extending the term, by turning a 3-year loan into a 7-year loan, they lower the payment, but they double the profit. They aren't selling you a car. They are selling you a subscription to transportation. And unlike Netflix, you can't cancel this subscription without ruining your life. This shifted our society from an ownership economy to a servicing economy. You don't own your life. You are simply servicing the debt on the life you are pretending to own.
What?
To understand how the trap is completely unavoidable, we have to look at the life cycle of debt. It starts before you even have a job. In the UK, Canada, the US, and Australia, we tell 18-year-olds that the only path to a dignified life is university. But since you have no money, the government and banks kindly offer to front the cost. You sign the paper. You haven't earned a single dollar yet, but you are already in the hole. You start your economic life with a negative net worth. This is the entry fee.
Congratulations!
Then comes the
car is
training
all
phase.
yours.
You get your first
Thanks.
credit card. The limits are low,
I guess
but the
I'm chained to
rewards
it
are
now.
shiny. Cash back, points, travel miles. They gamify spending. They teach you that spending money you don't have is actually rewarding. They train you to bridge the gap between your entry-level salary and the lifestyle you see on Instagram with a piece of plastic. And then the trap slams shut. The mortgage. We are culturally programmed to believe that buying a house is the ultimate sign of adulthood. And it can be a great asset. But the way we buy it is mathematically designed to keep us working. Let's look at the amortization schedule. A fancy word for how the bank makes sure they get paid first. If you borrow $500,000 at a 5% interest rate for 30 years, your monthly payment is about $2,600. Here is the part they whisper. In the first month, only about $600 goes toward paying off the house. $2,000 goes straight to the bank as interest. You aren't buying a house. For the first 10 years, you are mostly just renting the money to buy the house. By the time you pay off that 30-year mortgage, you haven't paid $500,000. You have paid nearly $1 million. You bought one house for yourself, and you bought a second house for the bank. Now, you might say, well, that's just the cost of doing business. I need a place to live. And that was true, back when the house cost 3 times your annual salary. But this is where the trap becomes malicious. In Canada, Australia, and the UK, house prices are now often 10 to 12 times the average income. How did this happen? Because credit became so easy to get, everyone could borrow more money. When everyone has access to $1 million of debt, the price of a house becomes $1 million. Easy debt pushed prices up, but wages didn't keep up. So now, to buy the same house your parents bought, you have to take on 3 times the debt. You have to work 3 times as many hours. The finish line was moved. The system relies on you being house poor. Because a person who is terrified of losing their home is a person who will put up with anything at work. They won't quit. They won't demand a raise. They won't start their own business. They will keep their head down, clock in, and service the debt. A highly indebted workforce is a compliant workforce. The genius of the system is that they tricked us into being proud of our chains. We obsess over our credit score. We treat it like a report card for adulthood. I have an 800 credit score. Do you know what that actually means? It doesn't mean you are rich. It doesn't mean you are financially free. It means you are a highly efficient interest-generating machine for the banking sector. A billionaire who pays for everything in cash might have no credit score at all. A person drowning in payments, living paycheck to paycheck, but never missing a due date, has a perfect score. The credit score is not a measure of your financial health. It is a measure of your profitability to the lender. We have confused ability to borrow with wealth. They are opposites. Wealth is what you keep. Debt is what you owe. By chasing a high credit score, we often optimize our lives to be better borrowers, rather than better savers or investors. We keep lines of credit open just in case. We take loans to build history. We are building a resume for a job we shouldn't want. Here is the irony. If everyone woke up tomorrow and decided to pay off their debt, if we all stopped using credit cards and only bought what we could afford, the global economy would collapse overnight. Our entire economic model is built on consumption smoothing. The idea that you spend money now that you will earn later. If that stops, banks become insolvent. Car manufacturers go bankrupt. The housing market crashes. The government needs you to be in debt. The central banks need you to take out loans. That is why they keep interest rates artificially manipulated. That is why they create tax incentives for mortgages. They are greasing the wheels of the trap. Because without your monthly payments, the machine seizes up. You are not just a consumer. You are the fuel. So is there a way out? You cannot opt out of the economy completely. You need a roof. You need transport. But you can stop playing the game by their rules. The moment you realize that a low monthly payment is a trap, the illusion breaks. The moment you realize that your credit score is a marketing metric, not a badge of honor, the pressure lifts. The only way to win a rigged game is to refuse to play as much as possible. To buy the ugly car with cash. To rent while you build capital instead of buying to build debt. To value freedom over the appearance of success. The system is designed to keep you working forever. But the door to the cage isn't locked. It's just incredibly expensive to walk through. The question is, are you willing to look less successful